This next question comes from Cal. Awesome pod. Thanks for the insight and the entertainment. A couple months ago, you guys went through the Georgia defensive depth chart and decided 9 of them would be NFL players. Could you do the same thing with Ohio State's offense? I think that all 10 or 11 of Ohio State's offensive starters will end up in the NFL. What say us?
It's certainly possible, yes.
I was just going to say, looking at them, the skill positions
are
locks.
Yeah.
And then, like, you go to the offensive line, and, you know, I bet they all get at least free agent contracts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I bet they get some sort of opportunity, whether they parlay it into a job or not, or whether they're a practice squad. I would think so. Like, so yeah, I think you would.
So Nicholas Petit-Frere is in. Thayer Munford is in.
Yeah, Thayer Munford will probably be drafted in a couple months.
DeWand Jones.
I think we'll see. I mean, I think he's coming back next year. We'll see. He's definitely got the size and the frame that you look for. I don't know if he's got quite the tape for it yet, but I think that he's somebody who would get in camp for sure. Paris Johnson, I think, will eventually be an NFL player. Luke Weipler, their center, too early to tell. Yeah. I'd say the one person I'm the sketchiest about is tight end Jeremy Ruckert. I think he'll end up. I think he's good. I just don't know if he is. I don't know how. We'll have to see what he does at the combine. Honestly, that's my one I think he's a good football player who won't test well, and I think that kind of hurts your draft stock sometimes.
I think he's got 6th round pick written all over him.
Yeah.
Everyone loves the Jeremy Ruckert size tight ends right now. I mean, you got to have a couple of them in your NFL.
I think he should be on an NFL roster. I just don't know how NFL teams are going to view him at this point.
He was always that toy in that Ohio State offense where
he gets lost.
Yeah, you can overwhelm an opponent with all these splash plays with all these other people, but you get down inside the red zone or you get in a goal-to-go opportunity and look, your linebacker's just not going to stick with him, or he's going to put his body on him, get you in that box out and be able to pull in the touchdown. It feels like, all of those tight ends that have been stacking up. Basically, does it go back to, and I promise this isn't just because the Ravens are hot topic this week, but like, does it go back to like the Mark Andrews?
How so?
I'm thinking about the tight end that can go in line or not, who is going to be, has a big enough body and good enough hands to put a defender on their back when they get into the end zone, coming from a prolific passing offense with an understanding of modern concepts and what to do when the play breaks down. Kind of that kind of player.
I don't know if that's where it started, but I mean, that is definitely kind of like to be drafted early. You have to be like Kyle Pitts. You have to basically be a receiver. And then they don't really care if you can block or not in the first round. I feel like for the other guys, unless you just have that crazy, freakish athleticism, you've got to be able to show the ability to not only be able to run those routes and catch the ball, but you've got to be able to stick in and block. And I do think that's where Ruckert will compare well to some of the other tight ends in this class. And that's the other thing too. I don't think this is a great tight end class overall, which I think would help Ruckert. But again, I just have the feeling like when you get to the combine, maybe he'll blow me away and he'll have better numbers than I expect. It's just, I don't think he's going to have like the 40 or like the crazy, cone drill time and all that kind of stuff that's going to make everybody swoon for him. I think he's just going to be a solid player who you like a lot more when you watch the tape than you do in tights.
He's a guy I think in like 2000 would have been a higher draft pick. But I think the way the game has evolved, where they're looking for a George Kittle or something along those lines, like a Kyle Pitts. They used to be like, 30 years ago, if you couldn't block, it was, like that's going to be a problem. Now it's if you can't create a mismatch with a linebacker, then that's more of a problem. So I think it's just the evolution of the position, so much so that tight ends are trying to count themselves as wide receivers so they get better franchise tags. And they're, proving it production-wise because they're catching as many as, the best wide receivers out there.
Well, you don't have to tell that to me, Danny, because on my fantasy team, I start 3 tight ends at once.
There you go.
Lunatic.
Chip runs Chip's running like 31 personnel in our fantasy league all the time.